90 days English speaking challenge. It's like a marathon of English. I am going to discuss a strategy, some of the rules, and how you can follow all this in this video. Now, the first rule is to get familiarity with English language. Yes, if you want to speak any language, you have to get familiarity with that language. You have to dive deep into that language. How can you do that? You can read, you can write, you can listen, you can speak. This is called familiarity. It is called dive in deep into that language. Now I am going to discuss some of the rules. What are those rules? The number one rule is that you have to start speaking from day one. Don't wait for the challenge to over. No, you don't have to wait for the completion of 90 days or the 3 months and then you decide and then you think that you will start speaking after this duration. No, if you are thinking this, you are mistaken. What you have to do, you have to start speaking from day one. From day one when you are going to start your challenge of speaking English. This is the rule number one, and this is the most important, because what we are doing, we are reading, we are writing, we are listening, we are doing everything, but what we are not doing, we are not speaking from the day one, because we think we don't have enough time, we don't have enough vocabulary, sentence patterns, sentence structures, and we are not get matured in that language. We don't have get familiarity with that language. That's why we can't speak English. Whatever you are receiving, I am taking the word and I am utilizing this word, whatever you are taking from this language, from the ocean of this language, whatever the drops you are taking, you have to utilize those drops in order to speak. Whatever you are reading, whatever you are listening, whatever you are writing, you have to utilize all these things to speak from day one. Don't wait for 30 or 90 days to over and then to start speaking English. If you are in this way, then you will not be able to speak English. This is rule number one. Now we are heading towards rule number two. During this whole process, if you want to be consistent and dedicated and devoted, and if you don't want to lose heart in this process, what you have to do, you have to adopt a positive attitude. Because without positive attitude, you cannot maintain your tempo, you cannot maintain your balance to speak English. You will lose heart when you will see that you are not making enough progress. You are not able to speak English. You are feeling hesitant, or different kind of negative feelings will arouse in your mind, and you will say that it's not cup of my tea, I should leave this journey. So what you have to do, you have to adopt the positive attitude. Whether you are seeing enough progress in your spoken English, whether you are not seeing enough or maximum progress, what you have to do, you have to adopt a positive attitude that if I am not making progress after completion or at between the completion of these 90 days challenge, I will see tremendous change, significant change in my spoken English. If I am on this track, I will feel and I will have many jerks, I will have many speed breakers. If you are moving on the road, there are many speed breakers. The speed breakers in English language are different kinds of hurdles. So you have to say to yourself that I can do this, I can achieve, and I can overcome all these hurdles. All the times you have to say to your mind, you have to say a green signal to your mind that I will achieve this target in spite of all the difficulties, in spite of all the speed breakers. I can achieve this target. You have to remind yourself. Next, number 3 rule is very important, and the thing is, you have to think in English in all this process. While you are reading, while you are writing, while you are listening, what you have to do. Now you are providing enough information to your brain. Your next target should be to think in English, to think only in English. Because after watching a movie, after reading a book, after reading an article or a blog, after listening to any podcast, you have some questions in your mind, you have some conclusions in your mind, you will wrap up, you will end up all the conversation. Certainly there will be some thoughts relating to the songs, relating to the podcast, relating to the book, or relating to the movies. Now you have to do what you have to do. You have to force your brain to sum up all these things in English. To sum up all these things in English, to derive a conclusion in English, to wrap up the discussion in English, to even to think or to raise the questions regarding all these things in English language. Initially it would be very difficult for you because you will have your thoughts regarding these things, but these thoughts will be in your native language. Now you have to remind time and again your brain that I have to draw conclusions, I have to raise questions, I have to wrap up all the discussions in English language. Forcefully drive your mind towards this thing, because what is the gap between speaking and our thought process? Because our thought process is slower, that's why our speaking skills become slow. Now you have to maintain a balance between a thought process and speaking process. How can you do that? You have to train your brain to think at the speed of your speaking. Then there will be a natural conversation, then there will be a confident conversation, and you will sound that you are interested person, and the speaker or the listener will be interested in your speech. You will have a marvelous change in your speaking style. Then there will be a balance between your thought process and your speaking style. So from day one you have to train your brain to think in English. You have to train your brain to speak whatever you are writing, whatever you are reading, whatever you are listening, whatever you are writing. So number 1, 90 days challenge. Coming towards this point, how can you achieve this challenge? During this 90 days period, what you have to do, you have to read newspaper every single day. Because after 20 days, the vocabulary, sentence patterns, sentence structures revise, and you get familiarity, and you get engrossed, and you will be enjoying your process of reading the newspaper. And because I strongly suggest in every video of mine to read newspaper. Why? Because newspaper give you updated knowledge. If you want to pursue your job, if you want to conduct an interview, if you want to pass an examination, you need not only to acquire English language, a set of rules, a set of communication, you also need some information, updated information about your region, about the country, about the world affair, what is going on the world. So newspaper is the best solution. It gives you two benefits. Your English is improved. You are getting updated knowledge. You are getting GK knowledge, general knowledge. So after reading newspaper, you have to grab the notebook and write down using all the patterns, sentence structures, vocabulary and expressions what you have read in the newspaper, and summarize what you have read in newspaper. This is the most interesting and most challenging task. Why I am recommending this? Because in writing you have the time to think. Writing gives structure to your thought. Writing gives organization to your thoughts. So writing is very important. Writing is very important. It polishes your skills to speak. It prepares your brain to speak. So when you read a page of newspaper, the next target is to utilize all the sentence patterns, all the sentence structures, vocabulary and expressions, and write down in your own words on the notebook. Next thing you have to do, now you have to watch the movies, because you will be in touch with the culture, with tradition, with lifestyle, with each and everything, and you will feel that as if I am living with these people, as if I am talking with these people, living, dining, each and everything. And you will have this feeling that I am in the environment of English language, and your excuse of that I don't have an English environment will be removed forever. Now, after watching the movie, you have to mimic the sentence patterns, all the things which you have watched and listened during that movie. You have to mimic all these things. What is the benefit? Your pronunciation will be improved. You will get to know how to pronounce a specific word. You will come across different kind of contractions, how to stress a word and how to unstress a word. These things will come naturally to you. You will not have to follow any kind of rules, because when we follow the rules, we are stick to the rules. Our mind gets involved in the rules and our discussion becomes boring, unnatural. So if we want to be natural, if we want to sound natural, what we have to do, we have to find the same pattern as we learn our native language, through listening, through speaking at the same time, through immersing ourselves. This is very important, and you have to follow this for 90 days consecutively without a holiday. Next thing you have to do, you have to listen to the songs and sing with those songs. You will get the slangs, expressions, a lot of vocabulary will be there in songs. Next thing is podcast. Podcasts are very important because it's a natural conversation between two persons or more than two persons. You will come across how to maintain a conversation, how to start the conversation, how to end the conversation, what kind of questions we can put, what kind of answers we can give, elaborate answers, elaborate questions. So you have to follow the same pattern for 90 days, and after 90 days you will see that there's a tremendous change. At the same time, what you have to do, you have to speak every single day. Don't wait for the 90 days to over and then to start speaking English. No, you have to think from the very start, you have to speak from the very start. You have to adopt a positive attitude and adopt this policy for 90 days, and you will see that I am on the right track. And if this video is helpful for you, please like and share and subscribe this channel and hit that bell icon, because it motivates me to make more such informative videos for you. Till the next video, stay happy, stay blessed. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.